everybody. Thank you so much for coming to the Walker Society Boss Babe Virtual Brunch Part 2. We didn't exactly have the live experience that we were looking for earlier today, but I wanted to go ahead and make this recording for you now so that I could get you the information right away. And we will try to reconvene all together in the next few days because we're awesome when we're together. Unfortunately, too, we can't be in person because of what's going on in the world right now, but I hope that you've got a mimosa or some brunch or some sort of snack, something good in front of you that you can enjoy today. All right. So before we get started, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what this meeting is going to be about. Again, unfortunately, our interactive pieces of the meeting aren't going to happen this time around, but we will try that out the next time. And we'll all get together ASAP so that we can have some in-person conversation. Also, for everybody who is listening to my voice right now and who decides to become a member of the Walker Society, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I've got a great bonus item available for you. So definitely watch the entire recording so that you can get that information at the end of the show. My name is Bevan Morgan, and I've created this organization because I believe that Black women deserve to have more than we currently do. We're the supporters of our community. We take care of everyone around us, and we know how to stretch a dollar. We know how to make ish happen. But what has gotten us here is not the same thing that's going to get us there. And while I don't have it all figured out with my personal finances, I wanted to be able to bring us all together to support each other, with me supporting you and you all supporting me so that we can take our finances to the next level together. So today's virtual brunch is going to give you a little bit of a taste of the way the Walker Society works. Unfortunately, again, because we can't do our in-person networking even virtually, you won't get to experience that piece, but you will get to understand a little bit of the flow of how the Walker Society functions and what makes it so special. So to start our meeting, we will hear from our financial expert, Emmanuel Washington, who is my personal financial advisor. He is a financial planner at Thrivent, and he's here to tell us about the importance of financial planning, regardless of your current financial situation, and in light of the crisis that we're currently dealing with right now. So we'll start with a quick Q&A. And while you can't ask questions today live, we will have a live portion later that I'll be inviting you to. So I hope that you'll come to that event so that you can ask your questions live to Emmanuel, because again, this is an unprecedented time for all of us. And I'm sure you all have some questions about what's going on. So let's get into it. And I am going to stop the share. There we go. Hey, can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay. Awesome. All right, Emmanuel. So my first question for you, why is financial planning important?
It's important, one, because it saves you time and money. And it keeps you from, or what clients have told me that, as far as accountability, but it keeps them from stepping on their own toes. Or that I point out the thumbtacks on the actual floor before they actually step on them. And personally for clients, if I see a snake that's getting ready to bite you, for instance, I'm going to make sure that you're aware of the snake, and either we have to address the snake or we're going to make the snake basically our pet and have it actually produce some income and produce a necessary need, whether it's to keep other people away from getting us off course of our finances.
Okay, I like that. So we're gonna make those snakes our pets. Well, so I know that there are a few different styles that financial planning can take, and I think people have different ideas of what financial planning is, but what is your preferred style of financial planning?
Yeah, so there's two ways that financial planning can actually be done, and it's needs specific or holistic, comprehensive. So needs specific is more And I'll just speak to what Thrivent basically offers. We offer advice, insurance, investments, banking solutions, and generosity platforms such as charitable giving, donor advised funds. So within our platform, which is all in-house, we can go out and go to external companies and get other products, but we have all our products in-house. And if someone says, hey, I really need some advice just on, a new investment, and it could not just a stock investment, but literally real estate. It could be a venture with small businesses or whatever it is. That's just advice. So you can come in and call me and just say, hey, I just want to bounce my idea off of you. The other piece of that is insurance. So someone comes and says, I've been thinking that I really need life insurance outside of work. I've been hearing this. I don't really know what that actually means. Dave Ramsey says you shouldn't actually do this. So then kind of walking through what that actually means, what their life insurance need is, what their current state is, what their future state could be, need specific with the insurance, and investments is mutual funds, qualified, which is retirement accounts that they have with their employer, or non-qualified, which also includes retirement accounts outside of an employer for entrepreneurs, or just someone that's wanting to actually invest money out of their own bank account or checking to kind of grow and get some gain. And then banking solutions is budgets, reducing debt. That is a big in personal cash flow. So one, giving the clarity for what financial planning actually can provide you, what your cash flow really looks like. So any holistic planner, and that is my preferred method, any holistic planner basically is going to look at your cash flow and say, what is your current state? And they're going to seek to understand and gather the information, not just assumptions, but actually gather the information from rhetoric to reality to actually then analyze what your gathered data is to give you a true picture of what your current state is, not what you think it is, but what your true state of what your current state is, and then what your future state could be, and the multiple options that you actually have to pick what road you actually want to go or what direction you want to go for what stage or whatever stage that you are, whether you have, you're just starting a job, or whether you are, have a auntie or whoever that's getting ready to retire, whatever stage it is, no matter how much money you have, a plan is always a key element to what you actually would want to fulfill the duties or needs, or what I really call your why, and determining your why for the investment, or your why for insurance, or your why for the advice. Whatever your why is, we're here to help you.
That's awesome. I love that. So what I feel like I'm hearing you say is you essentially help people, you meet them where they are right now. So you help them not only do you see where they are, but you help them understand where they are. Because let's be honest, sometimes we don't really understand what our financial situation is, because sometimes we play hide and seek with our money, like, let's be honest. So you help people really dig into their current situation, understand what's possible based on what they're currently working with. And then it sounds like Thrivent has most of the tools available, the products available, the different offerings available necessary to help people move from where they are today to where they want to be in the future.
Yeah, and the knowledge and the knowledge and experience and depth of others. So you mentioned a very key point where it's saying that we like to hide our money, but it's one thing to hide your money from coworkers. But when, let's say, for instance, that I work with maybe 6 or 7, or I have knowledge of other clients or other financial professionals that work with a specific company, and I can go to them, especially my practice is predominantly African American, and it's diversified within that. But when I can go across the hall and say, hey, you work with such and such a company A, what is and what are they making within this specific role? So if I see one woman that I'm connecting with, and she's, in the same role, and it may be even a coworker, which is coincidentally happened, she's making 45, but the coworker that just basically came in, that has been there 2 years less than her, makes 65,000. then we can kind of bring in the negotiations and advise, and that's more personalized advice to really say, how do we actually do that? And more recently, I've helped a person have a $35,000 jump within 2 meetings that we actually had. Just from them, she was already putting out interviews, but knowing how to negotiate between companies, how to expand or ask, really, and that's the biggest thing. It gives you the confidence to know that you're not asking for something that is not unfair. So getting extra 2 weeks on vacation is fair, and showing you how that can actually expand and impact your own money, personal cash flow wise, so you don't have to spend as much for vacation because you have asked for that time off, even if it's an additional week.
Yeah, awesome. Listen, that is amazing, because for one thing, it is great to have an advocate by your side who, to your point, just is having those money conversations across the board that we tend to not have with each other. So you have that kind of additional insight about what's fair, what's possible, what people should be asking for. But then I know you and I worked together, and when I first came to you, I was in the process of changing jobs. And I know one of the first things you said was, let's look at that benefits package. You need to ask for some more vacation time. And all of those things really came into play to help me level up what I was even looking for out of that opportunity. So I know just having that advocate, that coach, that kind of extra set of ears is just so helpful in not selling yourself short, right? So that's amazing. Okay, well, cool. So next question. All right, so in the midst of this crisis that we're all in, what are 2 or 3 things that people should really be thinking about and focusing on in terms of their finances?
And really, it goes to their personal finances. It's all personalized. So from in general, one, be careful what you watch on the news, and be careful what you see on social media. Be careful what you receive via text messages that says, hey, my uncle works at such and such hospital, or, my cousin friend works at the White House, and we all are getting those texts. So one, just kind of be wary and logical, and bring things down to an open space to say, for me, especially within my faith, financially during this time, what are you telling me to do? All of our resources, are gifts from God, and we use them as tools, but specifically, what are you telling me to do? So I'll give you a personal story, and I've been doing this for years, but during this time for finances, so let's just go advice and debt management or personal cash flow. So during this time, we know that they just passed a $2 trillion stimulus. We know that there's tons of relief that companies are offering. So if you have any debt, any credit cards, anything like that, call them. This is the time to communicate with your creditors. This is the time to communicate with your employer. This is not the time where you should be sitting waiting for something to come to you. So I would say be proactive. Call your creditors. There's 2 words that strategically you can mention during this time. A lot of companies have disaster relief funds or disaster relief programs or disaster relief incentives, which depending on your circumstance can actually reduce interest rates, can actually defer payments that traditionally would not be able to be deferred if we weren't in this circumstance. And those are really big things. The other word would be hardship. Hardship is a word that when you're communicating with your, all parties in a sense, wherever, as you're being led and guided, that you say, hey, I'm experiencing a hardship. Do you have any programs that will allow me, or credit cards, for instance, that will allow me to keep the card active and current, but allow me to just pay, reduce the payments right now. And even during that time, let's say that your income does not change. Now you've reduced your payments, you've reduced the interest rate based on the hardship program for, normally it's less than 12 months. And if your income hasn't changed, now you can begin to either pay at the same amount that you were paying and paying at less interest to basically take advantage of the particular time. So I always say, one, communicate with your creditors, communicate with your advisor, look at your benefits, gather information. You're at home now. The online portals still work. If you've never logged into your employer's benefits page or looked at your statements, and knowing what all this means, one, get access to it, because if you don't have access to it, you can't get me the information if you want me to look at it. So basically, just take the first steps to say, one, let me get access to all the portals that I actually have. Let me get the information. And then the question I normally get is, what should I gather, or what do I actually need to get? So that's just the first step. Get access to what you already know you have. And then when what you don't know, which is a part of financial planning and why you should want a financial planning, you always, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And what you don't know, we would basically educate you and get you, or show you the ways to get it. But what you do know, take advantage of that now, know exactly what you actually have, and anything else, we'll get it for you.
I love that. That's awesome. That was a lot of information, but that was a lot of really good information. So I hear you saying basically take this time, take this extra time that you have and look at your finances, look at your benefits, look at that information that you maybe skipped on the first day of work. But then also, really, regardless of your situation, talk to your creditors, talk to your landlord, talk to your mortgage company, and figure out what opportunities are available for you to maybe tighten up some of those little screws here and there. And I'm really glad that you said that, because I know with the reduction in the federal rate right now, the interest rate, I've been thinking about refinancing some of my properties and those sorts of things. So I love that idea of just being proactive to reach out to those companies where I do have mortgages and find out if it's possible to maybe reduce that interest rate or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great advice. I love that. Well, so just for people who maybe have never worked with a financial planner before, how does it work? So like, what's the first step? What does it look like? What is that process?
Yeah, and I'll do a disclaimer. I'm going to explain how it should work.
Okay.
So regardless of whether it's need specific or holistic, my personal approach and how I actually go about advising is, one, we connect or we just get together. Whether that currently I've been doing Zoom for 3 years, but I also meet clients in person when we can. I grew up, face to face, but also like the J. Cole, I'm the middle child. So I grew up in both worlds where I can basically, do a Zoom and I could still be connective and personalizing, but also can meet in person, and I'm comfortable in either space. But we get together, we understand in whatever means. And then from that point, once I basically do some scenarios, and I would say, point out the 5 basic principles, spend less than you make, be wise with debt, protect yourself against setbacks, have a short and long-term plan, and then ultimately living generously. And what does that actually look like? And the living generously is not just, I'm going to be this rich person giving money away, but it literally is within your heart, within the tools that God has given you. What is it that you want to give? What talents do you have? What is your why? What is it, your why that can benefit the world, impact the world, especially if you are working for a company to pay off student loans, because that's things that we have to do to, keep food on the table. So not forgetting your why. And if your why right now is split between, work, if you have a work-life balance, as we get older and our finances increase, what do you do in not a retirement, but repurpose life, repurposement? There is technically no retirement. You're just repurposing what you have accumulated to actually do something else. And what does that look like? What is your why? And going from there to say, what tools should we implement after we analyze your situation? And then, and that also includes cash flow, but what tools should we implement? And then, one, we check in to see if they're working. So we review. And that cycle just kind of continues where, once and it could be different solutions.
Mhm.
So if it's need specific, you come in for insurance, then we just repeat that cycle, not just on insurance basis, but as we move from need specific to comprehensive. If you come in and say, hey, I really want you to look at all of my finances, I'm going to show you everything that I have and things that I may not have. And then inheritance is a big thing as well, because some people can have inheritance and that can actually be a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that you're expecting money or assets, but the bad thing is that if you don't know what responsibilities that you would have, whether it's maintaining whatever that asset is, and whether you have to owe any taxes on that immediately or how you defer those taxes so you don't actually put yourself in a bad situation as well.
Okay. Okay. So, but it sounds like just in terms of logistically, the first step really is that initial kind of getting to know you meeting where you understand where your clients are in their existing financial situation. And so
Mhm.
it really is, it sounds like kind of a coach-e relationship. Like people have to kind of create that trust and that bonding so you can really know what's going on with them.
Yeah, it's easy to create the trust, I believe, when you provide the clarity.
Okay.
Um, and it's not me basically saying this is what you should do. It's like, hey, this is you. No, this
Right.
is information. And then where we should go from there. But to make it very simple, is we understand, we gather, we analyze, we implement, and then we review.
I love it. Okay. I love it. That's bullet points to the point. I think everybody gets that. So I have to ask this question because everybody's thinking it. How much does it cost to have a service like this?
Yeah, so there's different philosophies for that, um, which is called fee-based planning.
Okay.
So, and really that's a case-by-case situation.
Mhm.
Personalizing, I know within the first year and 2 years, and even to date, because I built my practice organically from the way that the Lord was leading me to build it, which was working with my family, close friends, and I know they say you shouldn't, that's the wrong way to start a business, but advice is only as good. Advice is only as good as a confirmation, in my opinion, that you get from the Lord, and that's the way the Lord told me to actually build it. And from that sense, I have not charged a fee for financial planning services yet. I've seen a lot of different cases, people that have money or not, but the clarity overall is something that they need so bad. And I see this as more so of a ministry as well, to where taking the money out of the situation to really just get the train on the track. So it's different when the train is already on the track, and they're just needing kind of help to, you know, make it run faster. But I find just getting the train on the track and determining how they feel about their finances, all the tools and things that need to be implemented really should be, say, if you pay me $2,400 a year, let's factor that into your budget. Put a negative 2,400 on your personal cash flow sheet, so you know that that is typically how much a holistic planner at minimum costs. So if they're really doing true financial planning, and then basically we factor that $2,400 in to make sure that we're carving out $2,400 to meet whatever financial planning goals or needs that they have. So instead of paying me a fee, I'm seeing that money go right back to you. And then it also allows me to get to know members, which is what Thriving Financial clients are. We call them, they're our members. It gives me the opportunity to learn them, see behaviors and character traits, to see, one, their risk tolerance, how they really like to handle their money. Do they need to see results faster, or are they one that can really see the forest from the trees, for instance? So currently, I haven't charged a financial planning fee yet, and because I followed in the path that the Lord has led me, it's been very beneficial for me as well, because we do get paid based on commission. But before I even understood what our revenue or compensations were, I really just focused on doing the right thing, getting my family's things in order. And I've done that for every client and household that is a part of my book currently.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I think it makes a huge difference when your business is also your mission. And my hope for you is that that continues to be the case and it continues to be successful for you. And I'm hoping that the people who are listening to this right now feel that same energy of just mission and giving back, as well as just your expertise. So thank you for sharing that. So with that being said, do you have any other words of wisdom or information that you think we should know before we move on to the next part?
Yeah, I think the company that I work for, one, Thrivent is not they don't advertise at the Super Bowl or anything like that. They literally, the company itself is a Fortune 500 company, a very large organization. The headquarters is in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and also Appleton, Wisconsin. I can give the origin and the history of the company, but the company has been around for over 113 years. They recently opened up their common bond as well, which we're a fraternal organization. But at the end of the day, all the jazziness of the company and the historical piece, it's a very strong company. So we are AM Best A++, which is the highest rating that you could receive out of 16 ratings. The thing that I'm most proud of as well is that Thrivent actually walks out the biblical principles for its own financial platform. So right now, Thrivent has $12.1 billion in just a surplus or an emergency reserve account. At the same time, having over $148 billion in assets under management. And out of all of that, Ethisphere, and it's ethisphere.com, and you can go to thrivent.com and you can see what I'm about to say. The ethical standard of Thrivent has broken the record where it was 4 years in a row. This distinction that very few companies get. We've gotten it from 2012 all the way to 2020. So the record was 4 years in a row, and we just continuously keep breaking our record as far as continuous. And I don't see that changing. And in order to get that designation, you have to not only walk the talk, but you also have to essentially be the change agent for what ethical standards are. And I tell clients that along with our benefits, there's benefits to being a member to help you live generously as well. But amongst that, if it's the right thing to do, Thrivent is going to do it. And then for me, customer service is a big thing for me. It's a huge thing. And Thrivent Financial was listed and has been listed in the top 20 of customer services for all companies, along with Chick-fil-A. And I believe, I know we're in the top 20, so I won't basically throw out a number, but we're seen as the financially, or nickname, basically the Chick-fil-A of financial services.
I love that. That's hilarious.
Our customer care center, even including my sister who's 20. She's like you're right, and that gives me confidence, and being able to basically say that Thrivent is too good to be true because of all the benefits, because of the membership, just because of who Thrivent is. And there is a company that is too good to be true, and it should be like that. So where companies, financial companies especially, are seeking to do the right thing, have a strong foundation, have a strong mission, and also have a strong amount of, or a strength in financial position, shall I say. So not only are we just a good people, but we're very good, wealthy, financially savvy people as well, as far as the company as the person.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, as a customer of Thrivent, one thing that you said to me earlier today when we were just talking, was essentially the whole deal about if every single person at Thrivent, if all of Thrivent's members right now were to call on their life insurance policies for, whatever reason, for health crisis, pandemic, whatever, Thrivent would not only be able to cover all of those benefits, but also still be able to stay in business and have reserves left over to keep going. So just, knowing that there's that, I guess, cushion of safety there really is peace of mind for me as a customer. And it's just nice to know that Thrivent is ready, willing, and completely able to back their responsibilities, as he said. So
that's the biggest thing. That Thrivent's model is not only providing clarity and making sure that our customers are getting to the spaces that they want to be in and accomplishing their why financially, but also that Thrivent will always be in the position. Thrivent has never missed a dividend payment, and they pay dividends on products and services that typically they don't have to. So they'll always be in a position, and that will never be compromised to where they cannot fulfill their position. And our CEO and CFO just recently sent out, and if anybody wants the email, I could forward it to them. But basically, he said if they did a simulation, and if not the Spanish flu, the historic great Spanish flu, if that happened today, Thrivent with our surplus and basically all the different assets we have, not only will Thrivent be here and open for business, but Thrivent will still be able to, pay out all the responsibilities it has and still have plenty in billions left over.
And that's incredible. That's incredible.
We have a ton of smart people that understand risk, and with the main goal for the entire company across all the businesses is to make sure that if we make a promise or if we make a commitment to our members, and we are member owned and ran, that we will honor the commitments to our members. And at the very least, if they are no longer able to honor they'll always be able to honor the members. But if they have to change anything for future members or prospects, that's different. But anybody that is inside of Thrivent and is a part of Thrivent and is a member of Thrivent, you can absolutely believe whatever membership status that you're at, that Thrivent is here for you. I'm here for you locally, and love to actually, sit down and connect and create more spaces like these that I'm so proud that, Devin is being able to create and use her Thrivent benefits as well to kind of expand her dream as well. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, so thank you for being here. I'm excited that everybody got to meet you and learn more about you and learn more about financial planning. But while I will be sharing your contact information in a follow-up email to everybody who registered for this webinar, what is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is through a member. So
like me.
I mean, Devin basically said, hey, I'd like to introduce you to, my closest friend or my family member. And that is the best way, essentially, if you're wanting to, seek more of the financial planning process, kind of answer more of those questions that you might not want to ask me upfront directly. But I am as upfront and honest, but I definitely see that transitioning helping a lot more, just because some people don't know me as well as they know their members. Other than that, you can always contact me directly. My cell phone number is 850-206-3056. My email address is emmanuel.washington@thrivent.com. Likewise, my personal email account is ejw0648@gmail.com. I check both of them. So one, I always say, because I try to be as responsive, and if I'm in front of a member I'm facing or I'm working on a client's things, try not to be as distracted. But if you send me an email, it will be read, and just send me a text as well. Say, hey, I sent you an email, or I'm looking forward to connecting with you, and I will get back with you in response. I'm human. So if I don't get back with you, something is probably wrong. But if something is seriously wrong, I guarantee your member or what I would call your advocate or whoever you contacted before, if you contact me directly, we'll have a message out to basically get back with you as soon as possible and to let you know, one, that we're here for you. And if anything is wrong on our side, like COVID-19, we're not in the office, I'm virtual. So we are open for business. Schedule appointments only at this particular time, just because there's no door to walk through.
Fair. That makes sense. No walk-in appointments because you can't walk in. It's not going to happen. Right. Well, that is great. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. This has been excellent. And as I said, everybody, we will be reconvening live and in person as soon as possible. So look in your emails for an updated invitation where you will be able to ask your questions to Emmanuel in person. But I will also be including his contact information for everyone. And for people who sign up as members of the Walker Society today, you will have access to some really special and I think very valuable resources from Emmanuel personally that I'll be including in our private area of the Mighty Networks website where the Walker Society lives. Emmanuel, thank you again. Feel free to hang out because there's more coming, but I am going to go back to share my screen so I can talk to everybody about the Walker Society.
All right, great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. All right, here we go. Now I'd like to tell you about a new organization I've started called the Walker Society. This is a financial accountability group for Black women who support their communities, their loved ones, and themselves by improving their personal finances. Our mission is to bridge the wage gap for Black women through mutual accountability, financial literacy, strategic networking, and community investments. This is a critical mission as the vast majority of Black mothers are key breadwinners for their families. And by majority, I mean over 80%. And over 1 million American households headed by Black women are currently living in poverty. The wage gap refers to the smaller average amount of income that women make compared to men for doing the same work. And while women in general make 78 cents for every dollar a white man makes, Black women make 65 cents for every dollar. That equates to a median income for African American women of just $38,000 per year versus $61,500 for white men. And of all of the millionaires in America, and there are kind of a lot, only 8% are African American, while we make up 12% of the population. And speaking of that 12% population, while we comprise 12%, only 3.2% of us are at the executive management level in corporate America, and African Americans only make up 0.8% of the CEOs in the entire country. And the crazy thing is, all of this doesn't come from a lack of effort. Of all women-owned businesses, over 50% of them are owned by Black women. However, when it comes to venture capital, which is the main way for businesses to receive significant funding to start up, a measly 0.06% of those funds go to businesses owned by Black women. And when we do receive those funds, we only receive 3.68% the average amount received by all companies. So that's a difference between receiving $42,000 to start up your business versus $1.14 million, which is the average. So what is it? Is it just that we're not educated enough? Well, no, actually. Black women make up 65% of all African American degree recipients, and that's the largest cohort percentage-wise of any demographic in the United States. So if the problem isn't that we don't have enough education and that we're not trying hard enough, what do we need to do to transform, get it? Because transform this problem? Well, I believe that what we do is follow in the footsteps of Madam C.J. Walker and promote ourselves into the businesses and the business roles that we know we deserve. The namesake of our organization is America's first self-made female millionaire. Her life was one of overcoming struggle and using her network to bring Black women together to grow her own wealth and to give back to her community. At the time of her death, Madam C.J. Walker owned the beautiful Villa Lewaro, a lavish Irvington-on-Hudson, New York mansion worth nearly $4.7 million in today's currency. Her company was making over $34,000 per day, and she was on record as one of the largest donors to organizations such as the NAACP, the Tuskegee Institute, and other Black causes. And she employed over 20,000 sales agents worldwide using ingenious and modern marketing techniques. This woman, who started her life as a sharecropper's daughter, who was orphaned at the age of 7, who got married and pregnant at 14 in order to escape an abusive brother-in-law, and who never completed more than a middle school education, went on to make history for her achievements in business, her tremendous wealth, and her contributions to her people. So following in those footsteps, the Walker Society is built on 4 pillars: accountability, financial literacy, networking, and cooperative economics. The heart of each meeting is the individual financial success that you will achieve by being held accountable to your goals. Each chapter, including the Lexington chapter, will be broken down into smaller accountability groups of 10 women each. So these are the women who will be by your side throughout your entire year of membership, cheering you on through your victories and lifting you up when you meet roadblocks. And in this monthly check-in, you'll allow yourself to maintain focus on achieving your dreams while getting the encouragement and feedback you need to level up. Each meeting also features an expert, just like Emmanuel, who we heard from earlier, to share their knowledge based on whatever it is that the chapter is requesting at that time. So some sample topics that we might think about include effective goal setting, money mindset, smart investments, creative side hustles, salary negotiations, and anything else we come up with. As the membership grows and changes, so will our experts and topics. And a really huge piece of this is networking. This organization will give you an intimate and comfortable setting in which to meet the women who've been where you want to go and those who could use a little advice to get where they're going. Listen, Lexington is it's a thriving city, and we have an active Black community, and we have the potential to become so much more. So through the Walker Society, you'll build strong bonds with dynamic women and become a part of that growth and change in the city. And then finally, what is, in my opinion, the most exciting pillar of this organization is our ability as a collective to impact the community by investing in our members' businesses, by creating and selling digital and physical assets to create revenue, and by investing in real estate in our community. So each member's dues will go toward hosting the monthly meeting, which soon, when we're able to get out of quarantine, will be held in a beautiful Black female-owned event space. And in the meantime, we'll continue to hold our virtual meetings using Zoom and using the breakout session features to have our accountability sessions. But after meeting expenses are covered every month, 5% of the remaining gross profit goes into an annual dividend fund that is issued to each member at the end of the year. Then the remaining revenue is used to create and invest in assets that create more revenue for the organization, which in turn increase the dividend that goes to each member. So the goal is to use our funds to support member-owned businesses, to use the services of our members in order to create our different investment assets, and to support Black-owned businesses in our community, which will all help to support the mission of bridging the Black women wage gap. So if you're able to see this vision as clearly as I see it, please sign up to become a member today. Your one-year membership includes everything that I just spoke about, as well as a subscription to our private Mighty Networks website, specifically for the Lexington chapter. So in addition to everything that I just spoke about a moment ago, you'll also be able to use this platform to access The business courses that are actually the financial courses that we'll be creating and then selling to the public, you'll have access to those for free as a member. You'll have a forum to speak with your fellow members to discuss any topic that you want to, and you'll be able to exchange resources with each other as well as receiving free resources specifically from our experts. Membership dues are $50 per month. However, while we're in our virtual reality meeting time, all of those dues will be reduced to $25 through a rebate. Also, everybody who is watching this video right now and signs up to become a member will receive a free version of, a free 90-day intention journal. So this journal allows you to take your big financial goals and break them down into daily action steps that get you closer and closer to your dreams. Listen, the Walker Society is nothing without each and every one of you. And this organization isn't about me. It isn't just for me. It's for all of us to come together and level up together. So Unfortunately, we can't ask questions live because this is a recording, but please reach out to thewalkersociety.mn.co to learn more or follow us on Instagram. And I want to speak a little bit about our next meeting. So every Walker Society meeting will happen on the last Saturday of the month. And that means that our next meeting will take place on April 28th and feature Letitia Cotto, Master Life Coach, motivational speaker, and as she calls herself, a Maven Mama. Tish and I have known each other for nearly 20 years, and she is one of the most inspirational, dynamic, thought-provoking, and down-to-earth people I've ever met. Her expertise lies in helping you listen to your inner wisdom and really hear what it is that your heart is telling you to create a life that you love. So she'll be working with us in April to create effective and heart-centered goals around our finances and making sure that we're thinking about goals that are authentic to who we really are and what our true intentions are. So not what society or family or friends tell us that we should want, but what we really truly want. And she will walk us through the intention journal that I mentioned before to help us get the most from this powerful tool in order to break our goals down from the big wants of our heart into daily actions to make those dreams come true. So again, thank you so much for listening to this recording. I wish that we could have done it in person, and barring that, I wish we could have done it live online. But the world wants what the world wants, and so we're going to make it work the best way we can. But again, please become a member today at thewalkersociety.mn.co. Tell all of your friends and family who you think would benefit from this amazing organization, and follow us on Instagram at The Walker Society. And if you enjoyed listening to Emmanuel Washington's expertise as much as I did, please reach out to him at emmanuel.washington@thrivent.com to get all of your questions and concerns answered. Thank you so much once again, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you.